So I think we're ready to start, right? So I think you will be all unmuted because it's my time now. My name is Dodo Vögler. I'm one of the founders of Ellery Studio. It's a creative strategy consultancy in Berlin. And I'm also one of the organizers of the Speculative Futures Berlin chapter. This being said, welcome to the 20th Speculative Futures Berlin meetup and the first one in 2021. I'm very happy to see so many faces. I think it's the largest meetup so far. And I'm also very happy to have our guests today. It's Amrei and Manuel from Nouveau Applied Futures, and to experience a hands-on workshop on future modeling today. But before we get started, my colleague Annika, she's also there, yeah, and I will briefly tell you something about the meetup, the organizers behind it, and Foresight and methods used in Foresight processes. So the Speculative Futures Berlin chapter was initiated and is since 3 years hosted by Ellery Studio. And by now we have like 1,600 members. And with this, it's one of the largest communities for the topics of speculative design and speculative futures in Europe. Our team is of course interested in how you found out about tonight's event. So is it the Speculative Futures Berlin social media, or from a different chapter, or was it about colleagues and friends? So for that we have like a first poll prepped that we're sharing right now. Yeah, so maybe give us a quick answer how you found out about tonight's event. Nice. Okay, it's pretty it's pretty all answered and pretty much the same. So also nice to have so many friends and colleagues. Okay, can end it, and I can also like share it with you. Yeah. So oops. If you aren't following us yet, feel free also to join us on Meetup, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. We are pretty advanced with all the different channels. Annika will post our social channels also in the chat. And while I still have all of your attention, we're always looking for new inspiring topics and speakers, new methods. And yeah, we're happy to, if you share your input with us, maybe you have someone in mind, maybe you have a cool method you want to try out, so let us know. So who's Ellery Studio and how did we come to initiate these meetups? We're a team of futures researchers, designers, strategists, illustrators, and practitioners. At the heart of Ellery Studio is what we call transformation design. So Foresight, this is where Foresight, visual design, and participation come together. And we help our clients and partners to anticipate future scenarios and to translate this knowledge in innovative communication formats. We also enable communities to actively work together and to shape the future. In projects, this looks more like this. So for example, workshops on future topics in the health sector, virtual communication, or like virtual communication labs between media professionals and scientists, or visual campaigns for social media. Here for the project, The Future is Feminist. So we work at the intersection of science, design, and innovation. And most of our projects are about developing knowledge. And this is for either help to share the future or also to stimulate discussions. And for us, Foresight is always, or has this transformative claim. So this means that Foresight and design go always hand in hand. I think that was also like one of our drivers, one motivation to initiate this meetup. So we want to push the topic of Foresight with its design claim and exchange ideas on this topic. With the meetup, we want to give people a stage that are already walking the talk and shaping the future. We work together with organizations, institutions, and individuals that bring desirable features and sustainable transformation to life. And we talk about various topics. So from methods like today or world building to food fiction and the futures of democracy. Speculative design Berlin belong to the International Design Futures Initiative, which is based in San Francisco. The Speculative Design or Design Futures Initiative is a global community with different chapters and local leaders. So I think there are about 60, 70 by now all over the world. And they are all having events and great content. So you can also check them out. And yeah, there is also like a conference happening twice a year. I bet this year will be also digital. It's called Primer US and the Primer Europe conference. And now I will hand over to Annika, who will tell you a bit more about Foresight and its methods.
Thank you, Dodo. Welcome, everyone. I'm Annika, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Foresight, so we're all up to speed for our workshop. So why Foresight? As we constantly deal with complex and dynamic systems in this world, we're not only uncertain about the future, but we're also uncertain about how to deal with it. There are so many challenges that we're facing today that seem unfixable. And I'm just talking about the climate crisis, for example. The only way to overcome them is by changing our values, our beliefs and attitudes, and our behavior. And this is where Foresight comes into play. So we use Foresight to deal with this uncertainty and to detect space for action. Foresight can be made up of thinking the future, debating the future, and shaping the future. Foresight is neither prophecy nor prediction. That's really important. It's not about predicting the future, but to help us build it. It invites us to consider the future as something that we can create or shape rather than something already decided. And there's a whole range of methods for researching, communicating, and shaping futures. And I will give you a little overview now on the different types of methods. And that's why I'm showing you the Foresight diamond based on a presentation by Popper. And you can see here that the diagram is divided into 4 areas. You have creativity, interaction, evidence, and expertise. And within the diagram, there are different types of methods. They're either written in bold if they are qualitative, they are cursive if they're quantitative, and written in normal font if they're semi-quantitative, and then purple if there are other methods. And let's have a look at all of these 4 corners now, and we'll start with the expertise side, including methods that are based on expert knowledge. And on the expertise side, you can, for example, find one of the most popular Foresight methods called scenarios. And they can be both quantitative and qualitative Foresight methods, depending on how they are generated. So for example, there are established scenario softwares, such as the SCMI one, that include the processing of data to explore probable futures. And then there are also qualitative methods that are derived from expert knowledge. And then you can see that we were now on the expert side, but you can actually move also to the top corner of the diamond on the creativity side, where, for example, you will have scenarios as a means to communicate futures through scenario essays, or to try identify desirable futures. And that's why we're going to move to the future coin. You can see quite well on our future coin that on the explorative side, probable and possible futures are identified. And on the normative level, desirable futures. And the utopic level strives for visionary futures. So the more we strive for the utopic level, the more qualitative the scenarios and the more creative as well. Now moving to the right corner of our diamond, we are at the interactive side or interaction. And these methods are based on participation and developing futures together with stakeholders, those people that are actually affected by whatever future. And for example, one of the very famous methods is the Futures Workshop. It's a fictional journey into a utopian future. The major element of Futures Workshops is the major element is their inter and transdisciplinary nature, where effective people are collaborating to shape a future together, on shaping the future. If you remember the little triangle I just showed you, it's about overcoming the status quo through creativity and imagination, and to find general and specific approaches to solutions or actions. Last but not least, moving down to the evidence-based foresight methods, you will see methods here that are rather quantitative and semi-quantitative, such as trend extrapolation. That is a highly statistical procedure, often involving an analysis of past or historical data, and it involves the extrapolation of trends, which are persistent and measurable. It's often used to communicate global warming topics, or you can see here the global energy emission or the rise in temperature. And trend extrapolations are based on a conditional statement about the future. The future is bound to preconditions of what is right now. And then that is just extrapolated into the future. So what that means is that everything is remaining as it is. And the strength is that it's relatively certain over short periods of time, but the further we want to branch out, the more difficult it is to be sure. And like the data obviously is only about remaining where it is and extrapolating to the front, so there are no trend breaks and you're highly data dependent. And we all know that not all research can actually be quantified, or not all research subjects. So before we carry on or we move on to our workshop, we actually want to, obviously we're talking about the future modeling method. So let's place the future modeling method in our diagram. And it can be found rather in the middle, because it is a scientifically based method, hence evidence. It conveys expert knowledge, and it is very interactive and creative. At the same time, it contains both qualitative and quantitative elements due to its standardized process, and because we create and collect assumptions, images, and emotions about the future. Now, today actually marks our first hands-on event. Instead of the classic panel format, we thought it would be best to introduce you to the future modeling method actually in like a digital workshop format. And before Amre and Manuel start, I just want to give you a bit more of an insight into the method. It's suitable for any topic or industry to make an organization or firm future ready in order to succeed in times of radical change and the high complexity that we experience on a daily basis. And the method was created by Nouveau Applied Futures. It's a Berlin-based transformation and time travel consultancy. And today here we have the two founders, Amre Andrasch and Karl Manuel Funk, here today to guide you through the workshop. Amre integrates her insights from multiple disciplines such as design, psychology, entrepreneurship, and neuroscience into the designs of transformation engaging and unique educational experiences. Manuel is an expert in the areas of transformation, innovation, and digitalization with more than 20 years of experience. He's a strategic consultant for many international companies and holds a Master's of Arts in Leadership Digital Innovation at the UDK in Berlin and University of St. Gallen. So together, they will introduce you to the future modeling method. And you'll see it's quite an interactive participatory process. And you'll be guided through to exchange ideas on transformational topics and discuss these approaches in smaller groups. Now, before they start, we have two more polls in store for you. And actually, I cannot see any of the polls and I can't see the results. So maybe someone else could share them.
So thank you, Annika. So I can see most of you can obviously see the poll. And the first question is, when you think about the future, do positive or negative images come to your mind? And it's a multiple choice answer option. And we see it's a lot of both, more positive than negative. And no one says, I don't think about the future, which is great.
Great.
So there was Amrai already, right?
Yes.
You want to continue?
Yes, maybe I take over from here. Thank you so much, Annika and Dodo, for this great input, and first also for inviting us today to this super possibility to introduce you to future modeling. I'm super happy to see that nobody actually said, I don't think about the future at all, because that's super important for our future. The poll is still going on, but I see, no, it's the second poll already. How strongly does future readiness influence the performance of a company or organization? And super fast result, almost half of it, say 56% strongly positive influence. For those who don't know yet what future readiness means, we'll give you a short insight in our presentation about this. Okay, so then, Manuel, maybe you can start sharing the screen. So many people here,
Right.
I'm so super happy. Really nice seeing you. Okay.
Can you see the screen?
Yes. Thanks
Hello
so much.
to everyone. From my side, Manuel is my name.
Okay, well, as we didn't know how we will be introduced, was really nice listening to our introduction. Thanks so much. Maybe we double up with things here, but then we just jump over. So for our super short session, we will give you a short insight on our perspective, what future readiness is. Then we'll make a short deep dive into future modeling framework, give you an even shorter time travel experience to make you itch, like when there's a mosquito and it bites you and you wanna even know more afterwards. And the fourth point that we will talk about is then how do we apply all those insights that we gathered in the futures in the here and now and actually take concrete action steps. And in the end, we have about 20 minutes, I think, for Q&A with Dodo and Ellery's asking us questions and you asking us questions. So please write some questions in the chat. Okay, please continue, Manu. So as Dodo also said before, I will also post our channels in the chat, and please connect and spread the word. I hope we use the right Futures Berlin link, but it would be nice just to keep in contact. Okay. And we are Novo Applied Futures, transformation and time travel agency. And mostly what we do is that we support corporations and individuals on actually exploring their desirable future scenarios and to take those insights that they got from the futures back into the strategic decision makings and first research projects in the here and now. And we train teams and individuals in future and relevant leadership capabilities. And yeah, I think we don't have to say more about ourselves. What we do and how we do it is we offer strategic time travels. And we do this by using our tool, the Future Modeling Framework. We will dive into this a bit deeper later on. It's a standardized framework, like a navigator through the uncertainty of the futures. And while you are navigated through this uncertainty, you develop diverse and very important leadership capabilities. And before Corona, we did a lot of workshops, future workshops and trainings with people in special locations. We made a lot of open conversations to invite more people to discuss. Here, this was at the Future Fest in Oslo. We transported all these framework steps onto our future modeling platform and create their immersive digital experiences, which I, as an experience designer, didn't think it's at all possible. But yes, also experience design on digital spaces can be very fantastic and futuristic. And all is based on scientific foundation. So we use a lot of brain hacks in our methods, and so that we don't lose the people and they think it's all esoteric. It's all based on neuroscientific methods, new work methods, and you will experience something like this later on. And most important is the concrete application. So at the end of each workshop or session, each participant actually leaves with a concrete commitment taped on video or written down. What will I do from tomorrow on and to support this future compass? And we traveled already quite some time into the future and back, and with about like 1,500 time travelers from 32 countries, from big corporations, over NGOs, small companies, with a lot of focus on education, actually, because we think it's super important to start this future thinking also already at a very early age. Well, let's say like this, how are you doing? Give me a short, there are those funny reaction buttons. Give me a short thumb up, or maybe there's a bit like this. This is really insane, I think, but that's the future. We have to deal with stuff like this. Unfortunately, not so often, but thanks for all these happy smiling faces that come into my face again. Okay.
All right, welcome back, and perfect introduction to the next topic. Too, and as we also learned during the introduction, and as we all know, we are going through some major paradigm shifts, and some even bigger paradigm shifts are ahead, and it will change a lot. And we expect major impacts on societies, on politics, on work, and live, love, cities, mobility, health, basically everything, including future studies, speculative design, and however you call our profession. So this will be our topic, futures of futures. And since you all know probably a lot of these paradigm shifts and changes are driven by tech and follow exponential developments, not not to speak of Corona, which is also developing exponentially. So what does our brain do when we try to think on an exponential curve? What do you think? It just shuts off. We are not able to do this because our brain is optimized for linear thinking. Our brain is perfect in many ways, but it's very weak in exploring exponential unknown territories, because as soon as we try to do this, anxiety comes and our complete body system is yearning for stable conditions. This is why so many innovation and future scenario initiatives fail. And this was also the reason why we founded Novo and started to think about how we could hack our brain, how we can overcome these limitations. And the question for all of us is, are we feeling prepared for all these changes? Do we feel strong enough to handle these and take the opportunities out of these changes? And on an organizational level, is your organization future ready? Is your organization prepared? And a recent study from 2017 is saying, after exploring about 10 years of corporate success, that future-ready firms outperform by 33% higher profits and 200% higher growth. So this should be reason enough to do some future thinking once in a while, right? But instead of doing this, we sit in front of our computers doing Excel sheets and do short-term quarter number PowerPoint stuff, and only about 5% of corporations nowadays prepare actively for changes in their markets. And out of our experience, maybe from these 5%, maybe 4% just do it by trend researches. And 1 out of 100 corporations is doing active future research and speculative design, etc. So we wanted to change this. And we all probably want to learn how to think long-term, to create bold and desirable future scenarios and visions, and taking also actions on them. And whether you like Elon Musk or not, and there's a lot of other great long-term thinkers, a lot of great women as well. The question remains, how can we do this? And it's easy to read a book and look some amazing TED Talks about long-term thinking, but it's really hard to do it. And we looked at 5 years ago, when we've seen a lot of our clients failing, we looked at all these processes and methods out. We hired professional foresight experts, we hired speculative designers, we hired design thinkers. We did a lot of trend scouting and trend research while working with our corporate clients. We looked at theory and some other amazing, great methods. But in the end, we had the impression that we need to invent something new, combining different approaches out there, taking pieces of traditional foresight, design thinking, experience design, speculative design, etc., and creating a new approach how to think long-term, how to create futures and scenarios and take action on them.
Maybe shortly, Manuel, sorry to interrupt you. There was this question if you could explain what future-ready organization means, so people understand this a bit better. What is future readiness in organization?
Sure. Future readiness means that as a company or organization, or even as an individual, you think ahead and at least try to anticipate which changes might come and how probable they are and how you could react. So it's not about foresight. It's not about foreseeing what will happen. It's about preparing for different scenarios. And most futurists and speculative designers are very aware of this fact. And I think a lot of you guys work with similar methods already. So our approach to create something new is not against established methods. It's basically a new offering we put on the table, and it's highly compatible to all other existing methods out there. So the result after about 2.5 years of intense research, prototyping, testing, and about 50 workshops with clients is the future modeling framework. And as Amre earlier described, it's a combination of a framework and a skill set of capabilities, because you need them to do this. Since we have a participatory approach, we want to work with managers and people and humans and citizens. They also need to train their capabilities to think like a futurist. And we strongly believe now, after almost 5 years of doing this, that time traveling is a good way to explore futures and also embody experiences from the future. And what we do is we travel beyond paradigm shifts. We try to anticipate them. We try to actively work with the opportunities out there, because we focus only on positive, desirable opportunities and futures. We do not explore dystopian possibilities. We don't even think about what could go wrong. It's only about shaping positive futures. And the process is highly standardized, and we believe this is the core of our approach, that we always go through the same phases, the same steps, and we always travel back and forth between 2 time zones. The basic framework is easy and accessible. You can understand this in a few minutes, and You can download the basic framework for free on our website. So it's especially for experts like most of you, it's not rocket science, but it's very well worked out, and it's standardized, and this is the key to success. Below this basic framework, we have tons of different methods and basically workarounds for typical obstacles in innovation transformation processes in large organizations. So throughout these 5 phases, we have about 50 different tools implementing depending on how big the project is, what the desired outcomes are, and we can just pick and combine these tools together, always having a full round of future modeling. It's an iterative process. Standardization allows going over and over again through all steps, and you can also scale it, starting from a team, let's say from 9 to 25 people. You can scale it to an unlimited number of participants, because you can always refer to on which step you are right now, and you can deep dive on step 7 and continue next week on step 8, and then you can go back after a full round of future modeling, traveling back to the basics, the core anticipations, and do different scenarios. And this is very valuable for large organizations, no matter if they're corporate or NGOs, because what we all probably have experienced before, that a lot of future workshops and the future conversations have a slight tendency to go into cliches. And we are all stuck in these cliche scenarios sometimes. And what we try to do is to dig deeper, to get more profound and more interesting results out of these conversations. And to do this, we can combine results from dozens or even hundreds of workshops on a so-called futures matrix. And we learned this, at least in our working environment, the only way to change and transform larger groups of people. Because if you hire the best futurist in the world and she or he is presenting you some charts, you have no buy-in. You need these people exploring themselves. We need them to follow a structured process, and then in the end, synchronize their assumptions on a larger level. And this is very complex. It's not about let's grab a beer and talk about future. We do this maybe 5 times a week in meetups anyway, but how can we dig deeper? And this is our core mission, basically. And to give you a short glimpse, Amra will time travel with us for a few minutes.
Exactly. Thank you, Manuel. Maybe for this understanding, could you shortly jump back to one times where we see the canvas or the framework, Manuel?
Yeah.
I think it was 1 or 2. Just to give you a rough overview again before we time travel. Maybe here, this one. On the left side, you see these are the 3 phases. The blue one is the so-called future quo, which is also based on the futures triangle, which Annika talked about beforehand, of Zoyail Inayatullah, one very famous Foresight futurist. And this is about all the knowledge that we have in the here and now from the future. So this is a subconscious downloading process of all the factors that what we know about the futures. This happens in 2021. On the right side, there's the pink phase. This is behind the paradigm shift, the creation phase, the ideation phase, where we dive into reframing, creating holistic scenarios through storytelling, prototyping, and challenge these and extract most important building blocks out of those scenarios. So this is the important difference. The blue one is in the here and now, and the right one is really in the utopian phase, the designing the positive scenarios. And this is where we will travel now, just to give you a short understanding. And now you could go on the experience sheet again, Manuel, please. And so what we will do is I will paste you a link in the chat. And this is a link to your breakout room, to the tasks that you will have in a breakout room. So for in the next like 5 to 7 minutes, I will take you on a small time travel with me. And we will explore the futures of Foresight in 2035. And this will be sort of a super nice imagination where we create just positive images where we want to go. And if you have something to write next to you, let it be like small post-its or a sheet of paper, put this to be ready to download your images that will come to your mind in the next minutes. And after this short imagination, maybe you could share the website, Manuel. You will land in a new space, because time traveling is traveling in time to behind the paradigm shift and also in space. That's why we'll catapult you into breakout rooms, and you will land with 5 other people in these rooms and be able to exchange your future images that you've seen. And when you've landed there, can you share it, Manu? Otherwise.
No, it doesn't work, but try again. No, okay.
Yeah, good. So you land on this page, and there's actually all the instruction that you need for your future planet. You have about 7 minutes to introduce yourself, and each participant has 1 minute to say who he is. For example, I'm Helmut. I come from Berlin. My background is I'm a fantastic storyteller, and in my time travel was full of fantastic images. And I would like you to extract the 3 most important hashtags, let's call it, that you've seen on your time travel. And the next, after you created this shared wisdom on your planet, let's call it, you go to the next step, which Manuel will introduce you shortly.
Okay, before I continue, maybe one thing, when we talk about the future of Foresight, we for sure do not mean Foresight. This is part of the journey. We of futuristic professions and methods. Speculative design, foresight, future studies, however you call it, theory U, and tons of others. And what Amrei described is just the quickest way of doing a scenario. Usually we do this over many hours, months, sometimes days, but we also have the experience that after 10, 15 minutes, we're also able to create fantastic first initial stories and scenarios. And based on this story and based on your future images, we have a short 7-minute session on future DNA. We believe that a lot of methods are great, but they're hard to implement. And we invented this so-called future DNA hack, basically, to extract out of super complex scenarios. And sometimes when we work over a week on a scenario, you need 2 hours to talk and tell about it. And we believe that it needs future DNA, the core principles, the core building blocks to implement it. So even if we have the most complex scenario, in the end, usually our corporate clients and organizational clients, they get out of the workshops with 6 to 10 future DNA blocks. And this is basically the foundation of everything they do in the next weeks and months. So it's the principles of success And basically the essence of everything you explored in the future and can put in your bag and travel back to your colleagues still in front of excellent PowerPoint, and you can tell them what you've seen in the future. And this is just the future DNA. We do not share the scenarios.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Let's see. We use it, we give it a try in the arrow. Let's see what happens. It's an invitation to do those tasks. If you have wonderful discussions about the future, that's also great. But I would like to encourage you, find a co-pilot who is in charge of keeping a bit an eye on the time. And also, when you have your 3 future DNA blocks, keep them ready to be posted into the chat when we are back in the plenum. Okay, so we gather a bit of a future DNA of the futures of Foresight. Okay, guys, then Manuel, please unshare the screen. And I invite you on a short time travel with me. Can you hear the sound now?
Yeah.
Good. This is the thing when we work with Zoom things that are not, as when we're not used to these Zoom accounts. Whatever, we managed this today. We travel together into the future. So guys, I would like to encourage you to take a comfortable seat. Really make yourself comfortable. Make yourself ready for the time travel. And if you want, you can close your eyes now. Even if it feels weird that there are a lot of people we don't know in the room, it might also feel quite nice because these are our fellow time travelers. So I would like you to take a deep breath and breathe everything out of what this whole day brought with you. All the tension, all the disturbance, everything that somehow scattered our mind. And take a short time just to relax and focus how the air runs through your nostrils, fills your body slowly out of your mouth again. Just take the short time to ground yourself in 2021. All the thoughts that come to your mind, let them just wander by and relax for a second. Just listen to your body, how it feels, see what you can hear. Then I would like you to take another deep breath again in 2021. And slowly prepare yourself. Put on your helmet. Take all the energy that you gained. Slowly catapult yourself behind this paradigm shift, behind all this madness, behind all this craziness. And land in this fantastic new world. Let's say 2035. In the future, which is bright, positive, utopian, and fantastic. And I invite you to shortly walk through your day, your first day in this new world. Where do you wake up? How do you go to work? If you go to work, and if you go or maybe fly, with With whom are you spending your day? Try to immerse in this new world and look around what you see, what you maybe smell. You can hear special noises, or maybe you hear nothing and it's just silent. Take a small moment to arrive on this planet. Gather the first beautiful impressions of this world. Let's dig a bit deeper into our focal issue, the futures of foresight. Let's focus on speculative design, on forecasting, on future modeling. What will be the role of these professions in the future? How do we explore those futures? And maybe which methods are common? How does technology, like for example AI or simulation, support future forecasting? Do we need futures forecasting at all? Or do our worlds, the here and now and the future, merge? Be fantastic and utopian and create desirable scenarios in your mind. Images come to your mind, let them pass by. Don't look at them at all. If you got some images already, make them even more utopic and fantastic. And this is just a super short time travel today. I would encourage you everything you can, all the images, all the feelings, all the emotions that you can in your backpack, in your time travel backpack, to bring it back to the here and now. And to slowly put on your helmet again and enter your imaginary time machine. And slowly but surely come back to 2021. And I would like to ask that you take 1 or 2 minutes to reflect for yourself. And if you have something to write, note down some hashtags, just to narrow them down, what you saw, what you felt, what you heard during your travel. And in the next 2 minutes, you will be brought to your new time travel companions, and we will start the breakout sessions.
Thank you. So before sending everyone to breakout sessions too early again, is it now the time to set up the breakout sessions? Okay, thank you.
And have fun, guys. It's all about exploring, discussing, having fun. I hope you managed to have a nice conversation. However it was, no matter if you fulfilled any tasks, that's not what it's about. It's more that you have some kind of a guideline. You can hold Now they're all back. Hello, back again. Nice to see you. It's always when it's always like tearing you out of space back into the here and now. And we know it's just a super, super short conversation, but this is, as I said, like a super short ignite. So it's an invitation to continue this conversation, make connections, and let's continue this whole thing. So I would like to ask you, for the ones who managed to collect some future DNA building blocks, please, if so, write them down in our chat so we can have a small collection later on and just have a review. When you send you an email for follow-up, we can include them, and it's just a little come out. So thanks so much. I hope it all worked. And maybe it's now 1 to 8 for the ones who need to leave. Sorry that we had this interruption, but if it's fine for you, we will just continue super shortly for about 5 minutes to sum this all up, what we just did, and give you information like how to land all this insight from the future. And then we are still here for 20 minutes, how long you want, to answer your questions. Okay, so Manu, if you could share the screen.
Okay.
Super.
Yeah, it's super important for us to at least talk a few minutes about the applied futures thing, because since it's part of our name, you can imagine that this is the core of our doing. We love time traveling, we love scenarios, but in the end, it's about action and implementation. And this is also where a lot of future projects fail from our experience. So it's super important to travel back after every futuristic exploration and think about how you can bridge the application gap, because this is what we see a lot. Companies and people come to us and have crazy, really interesting ideas, and in the end, nothing happens and they produce the app or something. So we want to bridge this gap, and we believe that Future DNA is one of the vehicles how you can do this. And where a lot of methods end, ours is basically restarting in applied futures and implementation. And you can do this across several levels of every organization, from long-term visions to transformation programs, innovation of future-ready services, for example. But it's also a cultural and really important integration task to bring people on this journey and to share experience and learning from the future. So we do this using our future modeling platform, where we can basically collect also in a virtual space across borders and cities. We focus in the last phase on collecting concrete action items. And we do this basically in a manner where we have a lot of interactive chats and tools and surveys and evaluations, and we have a really great platform. We don't have time to show, but if you're interested, just drop us a line and we can also do a short demo on the platform. And if you're interested, besides the workshops we are offering, we also have a academy launched last year, basically as a first step into teaching more and more people on how to do future modeling. If you want, there's a lot of different programs, from 2-hour masterclasses to getting a certified future modeling architect. But it's all easy accessible, and we'd love to have you, if you're interested, on, for example, a time travel program, which is starting in April. It's about 4 weeks, 3 sessions, some interactive labs, just to learn a little bit more about how we do this. It's all on our website in the Academy section. But have enough time for discussions. We close this now here. Drop us an email if you want to learn more, or write to the chat, and we are more than happy to answer your questions.
Yes.
Thanks, first of all, for listening and joining.
Yes.
And now we open up a Q&A.
Thank you also so much from my side. I just want to super shortly underline what Manuel said. We have this method and we want to bring this method out into the world, and we want to have more people to interact with this method. So please, let's just connect. Let's just create desirable futures together, because that's just how it will work if we do this all together. And it would be really great for people to travel. That's more fun most of the time. So yeah, thanks so much from my side also.